So, the question, before I get into the Monster Hunter beta, which I will try and keep short, did anyone but me in this room play the Monster Hunter beta? Nope. Wolves?
Well, that depends.
Mm-hmm.
Does
Don't you fucking sit there
You watched Max stream
and
of it.
fucking say that you played Marvel over the weekend.
It depends, because does two-manning Adjanath with a switch axe count?
Yes, it does. Yes, it does.
Try.
Okay.
You even used the two-manning properly. Okay, so
Do you have that written down?
I have my list. Go on.
So this is going to give context to how I'm going to talk about this. So basically, a couple things about the fact that this is on a console. Having a dedicated right analog stick is the biggest game changer in the world. More than any other feature in this game, having a real right analog stick, a real lock-on, and you can switch between a real lock-on, which has never been there, or an old-style target lock.
Which I switched to, which made life a little bit easier.
Yeah.
Because when you're close, you just tap that L1, and
a lot of people just free aim. Also, that's the biggest game changer by far.
Yep.
It's such a big fucking deal, and it's because you finally get a regular controller. Having monsters that look like fucking not smeared pieces of shit, it's nice. It's really, really nice. The new monsters are great. Great Jagras is a clear replacement for Royal Ludroth. And Anjanath clearly shares Devil Joe's skeleton, so I now know that Devil Joe's going to be in the game. The fights are great. The change to the way items work in the field is fantastic. So one of the things that you would do in Monster Hunter is you would gather, make all your bombs, make all your flash bombs, sonic bombs, dung bombs, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Now, because you have the slinger, which is the slingshot thing that you have on your hand, instead you find a big pile of shit, now you have dung bombs. You find a flash bug, now you have flash bombs. It cuts a lot of the tedium out of the extracurricular, and it also makes you way more aware of the environment, because now some environments just have floating firefly cages that will stun the fucking monster. It's great.
So I got 2 words.
Yes.
Rocksteady mantle.
Yeah, okay. All right. Well, give me we got to get there. One thing that I knew you would appreciate and is new to the series is the super dedicated training room.
Oh, yeah.
The training room in Monster. I did a stream on Saturday. I blew almost 4 hours of almost 3 hours of a 5-hour stream in a training room hitting a log.
Yeah.
Because there's finally a place. It gives you your movements.
Show me those numbers.
It gives you the numbers.
I want to see those numbers.
It has UI indicators on the ranged weapons for where your critical distance is. Like, you finally have all the information that you need.
And if that didn't exist, the mechanics and layer 2 and layer 3 mechanics of the switch axe would be utterly impossible to figure out.
No, what you would do is you would go see Gaijin Hunter's channel, and Gaijin Hunter would explain to you how to play the switch axe. And it's one of the
or you hook up with my boy Soul Carl, who
very,
sat down
very
and worked
much
it through
like
with
the
me.
problem we have always talked about fighting games have.
Yeah.
Right? Remember there was the period in which fighting games just didn't have tutorials, and how there was all this depth that the average person could not get to ever. And then they fought Skullgirls and Arxis and all these companies started putting real valuable tutorials in. All of a sudden, people kind of have a better chance of knowing how to play fighting games.
There's a fuck ton of shit that they don't tell you about any of those weapons when you go into the training mode that you see nowhere, that you can't figure out unless you already sort of know.
That's why there is the Hunter's Guide.
Yeah,
that's why there's the Hunter's Notes.
Yeah.
Action guide.
On a website somewhere.
No, it's in the menu.
Is it? Okay.
You hit start and you go to play guide, and there's tips for all the weapons, and then in the Hunter's Notes there's a lot of menus to dive down to get it, but most of that information is finally in the game.
And the problem that I looked at each of these weapons as equipping weapons like souls, and it became evident when, Soul Carl explained, he's like, this is basically class switching.
Yes.
When you switch to a different weapon.
You're totally different class.
Button layouts change for certain things.
Oh, yeah.
Attacks become blocks.
Well, all the fucking ranged weapons use completely different control schemes that have no relation to the melee weapons at all, or each other.
Yeah.
The difference between a great axe and what R2 does, which is a big fat block,
Yeah.
or any of the transforming weapons in which that goes from
Oh my god.
from block
Yeah.
to maybe block and transform.
Dude, oh my god.
Charge Blade is the most complicated one. Charge Blade is the sword and shield that turns into the axe. That uses the file system.
I'm sorry, that's what I meant. When
you use the Charge Blade.
I was using Switch Axe, and then I learned Charge Blade.
Okay.
And then the file system where you build up the pips and you lock them into the shield.
Yeah.
And then you can put them from the shield into your like shield buff.
Yes.
And then you can also get the axe swings with the electric.
Yeah.
like, boost super.
And on addition, you get the super. You get element discharge, which is the swing. Super element discharge, which is the swing
with the electricity,
with the shield buff. And new that someone on my stream had to tell me is you can buff the sword also.
Right.
You can dump all your vials into the sword as well.
And you can get to a point where both are too overcharged and you can't use them. But like the other bit too is when you do the amped elemental discharge and you get to that end part of the cancel. There's a perfect just frame parry that you can time with an attack to reflect shit.
It's not just on that. The roundhouse slash where the shield drops. That's also
right
a perfect guard. And,
what the fuck is that weapon, dude?
That's why there's a barrel that you can hit in the training mode, because the barrel always explodes after 3 seconds and is to practice your perfect guard.
Is the barrel not in the shape of a monster?
No, it is a
Garbage.
tiny barrel bomb.
It should be like a Trojan horse type thing where it's just like a monster made out of wood. Just give the impression.
It's a log with a jaggy skin around.
So here's the problem. Here's the problem.
Okay. That's
right?
fair.
Give me the problem.
It's just in terms of the naming. The Charge Blade is the sword and shield that switch into an axe.
That's right.
And the switched axe is the blade that can be charged
into a sword
in a sword way. So my brain goes.
Well, in Japan, the Charge Blade is called the Charge Axe.
Well, fuck. But yeah, I'm like, I'm not really a sword and shield guy. And he's like, press R2. And I'm like, okay. Because
there's the sword and shield, which is small and light and lets you use your items. And then there's the big-ass sword and shield.
And you start bloodborning it with your tricks things.
And
also hitting side and circle after certain swings to do that little side step.
That's brand new, and I marked the fuck out when I did it.
What? That is interesting.
Dude, there are so many extra moves that got added to these fucking things per generation. Like, if you go back to 3U, Charge Blade doesn't exist.
Okay.
Right? But if you go back to, like, say, Greatsword, did you fuck around with that at all?
Absolutely. In fact, that's what I killed shit with.
Sure.
I broke off Rathalos' face with it.
Yeah, it's great. Oh, you fought Wrath! Yes! All right, because Wrath is what I blew most of Wrath and Diablo is where I put most of my demo time, because the hunt targets are easy. Rathalos and the ones that are not the hunt targets are like, okay, you've done everything or you know what you're doing. Go get these guys.
Diablos is not beatable.
He totally is.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
But that feeling is how you will feel if you played the main game and fight Diablos.
But like perfect squad of 4 type situation?
Yeah, it's a lot easier to do them with 4.
Okay.
Single killing them is super difficult. Just because of the time limit.
Because Wrath was annoying, but it felt doable. Mm-hmm. But Diabolos was like, I'm getting 2-shotted.
Yeah.
And
so
there's nothing else.
With the great sword, right? You know, you have your normal swing, then you have your lean all the way back, big ass swing.
Marvel versus Capcom swing.
Then you have either your side swing, which is this huge whoa, or the double somersault.
Yeah.
Go back to 4, the double somersault doesn't exist. Go back to 3, the huge swipe doesn't exist. Go back to 2, the lean back attack doesn't exist. So
I apologize, Matt.
Every gen gets an order of complexity added to every weapon.
You know what you never told me?
What
makes all the fucking difference in the world?
What's that?
Was the part where when multiplayer is happening, you can swing your sword and hit people.
Oh, yeah.
That changes everything about my perception of what weapons to use and not use.
Well, longsword's great for beginners, except the huge wide swipes fuck everyone around.
So I'm loving the samurai shit, and I'm swiping around like an idiot, going, oh, that's cool, you can put it in and go
you're
Ayada
actually
style.
Ruining team DPS.
And you can't fucking do that around people. And it's like, okay, so what's optimal here? And I'm basically relying on greatsword, charge swing, only the vertical slash, back to switch. Not switch, a draw. Yeah. So draw slash, and that's it. For maximum, don't hit anybody, damage.
So I remember talking to you, and you're like, well, because the loot grind aspect of games doesn't do it for you, right? But what if I told you that Diablos' armor, for example, has a skill on it called Quick Sheath. It has Draw Crit, and you can spec in Quick Sheath. So it means every draw attack will be a crit, which is great for the greatsword. And then Quick Sheath is you sheath in 1/3 of the time.
So they know what people are using it for.
All of a sudden, holy shit.
Yeah, they know what people are using it for.
You're running around like hitting and running no problem. And you get a level 3 crit with like 130 or 150%.
Yeah.
I am so glad to hear this.
The time I then switched over to the gun lance for a minute. And
is that like a spear?
It is. It's a spear with a giant revolver on the tip of it.
I just threw out the most random thing.
It is a shield in your left hand. I forget.
Lance.
And the other one is a regular cavalry lance, but it's a cannon
with a nunchuck on the end.
And despite the fact that you have those cool movement options, unfortunately, apparently, it's not the most practical.
You know what? Fuck that talk.
Sure.
Okay. Gunlance sucked in 4. Gunlance was terrible. It had a heat gauge that would determine its damage. They removed that, and they added that new harpoon shot thing after their basic combo.
But you had to pick the right type of gunlance.
Yes, because there's wide, long, and burst,
and so on.
And so if you use the bow, there's actually 3 or 4 different kinds of bows. If you use after just popping in solo playing, took out Great Jagras, whatever, got the hang of Jagras is a bitch,
and it was fine. I had at first shot, no problem.
Yeah, but Jagras is a baby.
And then I did the Baroth mission, and that was the wall. And I'm like, I'm going solo on this, and I'm not doing enough damage to beat him.
I should mention that back when I started playing 3U, Bareth exists in that exact. He is the first large monster. Because there's the little babies, then there's Great Jagras size, then there's large. Bareth was the first large monster that I encountered, and guess what? Bareth was a wall.
Yeah.
Not just because he's bigger and tougher, but because his muck bullshit is crap.
Right. You're getting water blighted the whole time.
And the fucking mentality of slam him in the head because that hurts him doesn't do shit unless you have a hammer.
Yeah. And then furthermore, I didn't quite understand because that super cool mount and stab mechanic is awesome, but I'm going 1 damage. I'm like, this is garbage. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then you realize it's not about that.
It has nothing to do with the damage.
And you get flinged off, and then you fucking zip line back onto it, and you keep it going long enough.
It's about knocking it down.
And then you jam the blade in his back, charge it up to maximum, and shotgun it.
Yeah.
And then you get a fall.
So that massive attack that everybody gets at the end, that's brand new.
Okay.
It used to be monster would just fall down. And monster being down and immobile and unable to hurt you for 5 to 10 seconds means greatsword users.
Up to your face. 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, right.
Absolutely.
And the greatsword obviously has its perfect timings. If you let it run out, it goes back to level 2.
And what I've been doing,
charge blade users get to aim their element discharge all the way down the body.
And what I've been doing is Rocksteady Mantle,
which is earplugs and fucking
super armor.
Earplugs, I think, is wind resistance and super armor.
Right? With the demon powder. Because now I'm a god. Fuck you. I'm not moving.
For just a little
For a little bit. For 90 seconds, I'm not moving, and you're not going anywhere.
Did you get to fuck around with the
There was a moment where, Soul Carl was dizzy, and pretty much within death range, and I was able to stand in front and block and push Anjanath back to save him from getting that killing hit from a rush. It's fucking great, man. The windsuit, not a bad second.
Yep.
Right?
Ghillie suit's fantastic. It's better when you're solo, when you just need to. I just need to not die. Lance players are going to really appreciate the Challenger mantle because you can't kill Lance players, right? And
we're gonna have to move on.
Okay. But
we're gonna have to move on.
I'm glad that you actually got the taste. Mm-hmm. And even if you don't pursue it in the future, I can see that you get it. You you finally get it. And all that it needed to do was give you a real controller.
I got it. Yep. I cooked my food.
I saw a lot of people.
I buffed myself up.
I saw a lot of people going like, I never got into this because they were on crappy 3DS going, oh, wow, no, wait, this is actually cool.
And then the hunting tracks is new, right? And the way that the fact that you have to hunt for them in the world.
Yeah, it used to be really bad because it was just like 9 PS2 like flat zones, and everyone would just split up, and then someone would go, "Oh, he's in 9."
What's dope is when monsters fight each other, you get kaiju battles.
Yeah, I've seen that. People have literally shown me compilations.
All those things, yeah.
They try to get me in, and I'm like, no.
No. But it definitely reminds me of like when you see like T-Rex style creatures getting wrapped around by like
a
eel type things, and they're like slashing around, and then there's one point where it does like basically a body slam. You know,
it picks up Jaggerspite's neck,
right?
And just.
Or Rathalos grabs Anjanath and fucking just manhandles him. And you're like, oh, I feel bad for you.
So occasionally those used to be in cutscenes.
Let them fight.
Now they're in gameplay, and it gives you this great like, oh man, I've been busting my ass, and I finally got the Anjanath armor. I'm a badass. Oh, Rathalos don't give a shit about no Anjanath. And Seragios kicks the absolute hell out of Rathalos, and so on and so forth. It really helps to establish like a direct progression of what is actually stronger than what.
Yeah. For those wondering,
thanks, Soul Carl, for helping Wolves out.
There you go. My character was the Money Honey. Because Monhun, because you got to do it, and my Palico was why, because why do they exist? Why is there a little cat creature that follows me around?
That's really easy.
Popular in
Japan.
Why?
I didn't know that's what they were.
Oh, you didn't think they were in fights with you?
I didn't think there were little buddy characters following me around
that.
like Pokemon. I had no idea.
The reason why is because
Japan.
you can equip them with various support abilities that help you when you're soloing.
Okay.
Or if you're 2 players online, you each get your Palico to even out the difficulty. When you're 3 players online, Palicos leave.
Why they exist, or why they're little cat creatures? Is
both.
What you're asking.
Because they exist as support.
Yeah.
They are cute cat creatures because cats are cute.
And my Palico asks, why do I exist?
Okay.
That's fine.
Yeah.
It's a very philosophical Palico you have there.
Yeah.
Okay, it's like...
Hey, you know what?
It's like a Calico that's your pal.
It's like a pal, but also a Neko.
It's also co-ops with you.
Right. So it's a pal and it co-ops and it's a Neko at the same time.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see a bunch of people like complaining about like
how long this segment's going.
No, about specific features or how they work in the final release, and for me to go, oh, buddy, back in my day, we had to
well, if I have like entering a fucking friend code to find the mission to join up with them was kind of garbage.
Amazing.
That's gonna go. You'll be able to use your friend stuff. And they're also gonna have for the first time 16-player hub worlds. So 16 people can drop in, and then everybody can pair off or quadruple off. And
let's move on.
We're gonna move on, but hey, good for you.
In conclusion, that's a good one too.
Yeah, throw that on the Capcom list.